How about this milestone, folks? Today marks 2 years of doing content here at the Heat Report. It is our second year birthday. Appreciate every single person who has watched our content over the past couple of years and have subscribed. If you haven't already, please join our channel as we post daily Heat content. But spam those HBDs to start today's show. How fitting is it that our second birthday, the video we're doing, is trading Terry Rozier and 5 Terry Rozier trade ideas. One of the worst trades the Heat have made, honestly, maybe in the history of the team. It worked out in the 30 games he played last season, but he was so horrific this past year and still has $26.6 million on his contract. It isn't expiring that the Heat just simply need to find a way to move off of him. So on today's show, I'm going through 5, I think, realistic trade ideas that make sense for Miami, make sense for the team that we're giving Rozier to potentially see if a deal can be worked out. And the first trade idea is probably the biggest one, if we're going to be honest. It's one with the Pelicans, where the Heat received Dejounte Murray and Kelly Olynyk for Rozier, Hawkes, Duncan Robinson, and then 2 second-round picks in 26 and 2027. And you might be asking why New Orleans would do this. Well, I'll give you a quick answer here. Dejounte Murray is coming off injury, and they might look to build that roster around Zion, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, or at least retool/rebuild. And, well, with Murray coming off of a ruptured Achilles, his value probably is as low as it could get. And with multi-years left on his contract, we'll look at that. I could see them looking to move off of him and wanting that $26.6 million expiring contract to come off the books to help them next offseason, because this upcoming year is probably a lost season anyway. And Murray and Olynyk could be big-time additions for the Heat. Now, Murray will talk about what his timetable would be, but when you think about what he would bring to the table for Miami, he brings length, he brings athleticism, he brings an ability to score on his own in the mid-range, but also facilitate for others. A true point guard that can move Tyler Hero back to his two-guard role, but also a guard that is lengthy, athletic, and good enough defender to complement and kind of hide Tyler Hero a little bit. And briefly speaking on Kelly Olynyk, we know what he would bring to the table. He's been on Miami in the past, and he would be an excellent third big in rotation with Kel'el Ware and Bam. Olynyk coming off the bench, providing rebounding, floor spacing to complement Ware, and maybe you could play those two together. You could play Bam and Olynyk together. It just provides you with a lot of flexibility at that center spot. And I know a lot of Heat fans are going to be concerned about that trade idea because of Dejounte Murray's Achilles injury. He did suffer a full rupture Achilles last season, and studies show between the 2010 to 2020s that NBA players return on average in about 9.8 months from a full ruptured Achilles. Now, that's on average. That means some people might return in 9, some might return in 12. If you go back to Kevin Durant, when he suffered that ruptured Achilles, it took him 14 months. We'll see what Murray comes to. We'll see what Jason Tatum ultimately returns. Klay Thompson was about 12 months from his ruptured Achilles. The timetable for DeJounte's ruptured Achilles, it happened against the Celtics this past year on January 31st. So if you are going to talk about when Murray would ultimately make his Heat debut, if you made a trade for him in the offseason, I would probably project it on the safe side of next January in 2027. Kind of crazy to say that out loud. 2026, and maybe February around the trade deadline. But you would have him for the home stretch of the season. So if you're able to stay afloat before he returns, you could have an unbelievable addition to your roster. Another concern about Dejounte Murray could be the contract. I do understand that concern because he has 3 years left on his deal, 2 of them guaranteed, $31.5 million this year, $33.5 the following season. Then he has a $31.6 million player option for the 27-28 season. And I do want to make this note that if you are doing this trade where you're trading Hawkes, Duncan, a couple seconds, and Rozier for Dejounte and Olynyk, this is probably a complementary move to a KD trade in some sorts, where you now have a lineup of Murray, Hero, KD, Bam, Ware when fully healthy, because you're saving your first round picks for a KD trade. You make those moves of Duncan and Rozier, to get Dejounte and Olynyk. It's a fascinating move. Listen, there's no doubt about it. It's a high-risk, high-reward type of move. But it could make you a contender next season. With the Celtics likely being out of contention due to Tatum's injury. With Giannis potentially being off of the Eastern Conference and off of Milwaukee's roster. And even if he stays there, that team's not going to be very good anyway, in my opinion. Like, that lineup I just threw out there could be absolutely elite and a contending team next season in the Eastern Conference. It's a high risk because Murray, you don't know if he's going to return to that level and you have that contract, but it is a reward level that could get you at the top of the Eastern Conference very, very quickly. Hit that sub button because we put out daily content here on the Heat Report for 100% free. We talked about it. It's our second year birthday here. Well, we already have 22,000 subscribers. It's so awesome to see this channel grow on a daily basis, and I want to continue to see it grow. So hit that sub button and join us here at the channel. All right, another trade idea here. This one's with the Dallas Mavericks. This one's a fascinating one because they have been looking for a guard. They have been rumored to look to be trading Daniel Gafford due to him wanting a new contract soon. And in this trade idea, the Heat get 3 big-time rotational players, Najee Marshall, Daniel Gafford, an old friend, and Caleb Martin. Miami gives up Rozier, Haywood Highsmith, and they attach a first-round pick, that 20th selection that they are picking from Golden State, to get those 3 players. The Mavs are looking for a guard. And do they view Terry Rozier as a guard that can help them win while Kyrie Irving is returning from his his ACL tear? I don't know if they are feeling good about that, but that's why you would probably have to attach a first-round pick in this potential deal. And the reason why I'll throw this out there, and I kind of like it in a way. Now, is it my favorite out of the 5 trades we're going to talk about today? Probably not, and I'll rank all of them at the end, so stay tuned for that. But I do like this trade, because you get 2 3-and-D guys off the bench. Najee Marshall's a player I really like. He's defensive. He can handle the ball a little bit. He can knock down catch and shoot threes, and he's a really good defensive player. You get Caleb Martin. Nothing to be said about Caleb that hasn't already been known for Miami Heat fans. And you get a backup center for Daniel Gafford. For Ware. You get Gafford, Bam, and Ware. I mean, that's a pretty interesting front court rotation there. You could play them in so many different ways. Like, that gives you a lot of flexibility off the bench. It gives you one of the best benches in the NBA. I mean, you think about what you'd have still. You'd have Najee Marshall. You'd have Caleb Martin. You'd have Daniel Gafford. You'd have Pallel Larson. You could still have Duncan Robinson, like Nikola Jovic off the bench. If you don't even make another move and you still have Wiggins, like, you just would have a really, really deep team that is versatile defensively and offensively off the bench. It brings me a little bit of intrigue, I can't lie. But call your shot, folks. Do you think the Heat trade Terry Rozier this offseason? A lot of people want Rozier gone, myself included, but I don't think it's guaranteed by any stretch because they could use that expiring at the deadline in February, or they could just let the expiring come off the books and they'll have $26 million in cap space next offseason in free agency. What do y'all think? Do the Heat ultimately trade him? This is a very low-level move here, but one that I did want to discuss. The Hawks, I don't know what they do this offseason. Do they keep Trae Young? Do they not keep Trae Young? Well, if they keep Trae Young, they do need a backup point guard off of the bench, and Rozier maybe could be that guy, and it would also help them in next offseason as well due to his expiring $26 million contract. Miami gets 2 bench rotational guys in Georges Niang and Terance Mann, 2 players I could see thrive in Miami. Mann, a 6'5", 2/3 guy, 6'8" wingspan, has had good years in his career for the Clippers, is under contract for 3 more seasons at around $15 million per year. Georges Niang, a playoff contributor, one of the most playoff winning guys out there, if you can believe that, is as consistently in the playoffs, consistently knocking down threes, a sniper. Defensive questions, sure, but if you cut Duncan Robinson or ultimately move him in a separate deal, then Niang could be your shooter off the bench because he is a career 40% three-point shooter. But if you're making this deal, you're more intrigued by adding Terance Mann to your bench, and I think he could be unlocked in Miami. He's only averaged about 10.5 points per game in his career high, if you will. But I just imagine Erik Spoelstra being able to use him in so many different ways offensively as somewhat of an on-ball creator, and off the ball, a cutter, and his defensive ability at the point of attack is pretty solid as well. I just imagine Terance Mann fitting so well in an Erik Spoelstra system. off the bench. You could also argue if you don't make a big-time move, you could start him at the 2 next to Tyler Hero, which would provide you length alongside Tyler in defense, and then you'd re-sign maybe Davion Mitchell and have him be a backup guard. Like, you could just have so many different options if you add those 2 to your roster and your bench. It's an interesting hypothetical. Plus, because those guys, Mann, a couple years left on his deal, Niang expiring, probably wouldn't have to offer that much alongside Terry. We offered 1 second-round pick. I think that's probably all you'd have to do. All right, another fascinating trade here. The Wizards and Heat strike a deal. Washington needs a guard potentially, but they're also looking for flexibility. They're having a top 6, top 7 pick this year. They have Bub Carrington, Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr. Like, if they want to just let this year play out and then have a lot of cap space next free agency, not this offseason, but the year prior, they could take on a couple second-round picks and an expiring Terry Rozier contract and just move off Marcus Smart and Sadiq Bey. But from Miami's perspective, are you sensing a theme in these trades? Besides the Dejounte Murray one, most of these trades are the Heat moving off of Terry Rozier, in my opinion, attaching either a first or second-round picks to him to be able to get multiple role players that can slide into your starting lineup or off of the bench. Not using Terry Rozier to acquire a star, but using him to get a better roster, like get 2 players to fill that $26 million contract that can just benefit you in multiple ways. And we know what Marcus Smart is, really down season for Washington and Memphis last year, but could be a nice defensive piece. Sadiq Bey is the intriguing addition, if you're asking me here, because he has played in 4 seasons. He did not play last season due to tearing his ACL in March of 2024, but the kind of low-level pick out of Villanova has had a good career, finished top 5 in Rookie of the Year voting in 2020-21, had a 16.1 point per game season for Washington. High volume, yes, but still was able to put the ball in the cup. Like, he is a pretty solid scorer. He could rebound a little bit. He's not the most efficient guy, but you bring him off the bench as a defensive kind of ball handler and scorer that can lead a second unit, if you will. I'm intrigued. The common theme, not only of adding multiple role players and rotational guys for Terry Rozier's contract, is buying low on talented guys. Like, buying low on Dejounte Murray because of his injury. Buying low on Terance Mann after he got dealt from the Clippers. Buying low on the contract of I'm just absolutely spacing what I was going to say. I don't know. Lost it, guys. That's why you stay here. I mean, because we're not going to sugarcoat things, which is absolutely fun. But yeah, buy low on talented guys, and then we can ultimately have a potentially more well-rounded roster. All right, the last trade idea. And graphical error on my end, folks. That's supposed to be a Heat logo, not a Raptors one. Thinking the old DeMar DeRozan here. But you get DeMar. How about this? It's rumored that the Kings could be trading DeRozan this offseason. What if you traded Rozier, a Jaime Jaquez Jr., and a second-round pick? I don't know what the Kings would want in return for DeRozan. Would they want a young player that's really good? Do they want first-round picks? I'm not sure. But you get matching salary in Rozier. You get a young wing, a second-round pick. Obviously, the Heat were interested in DeMar DeRozan last season. Remember, in the offseason, they were looking at a potential sign and trade with Chicago or just signing him to a cheap contract. Like, I don't think Pat Riley would be scared off from adding DeRozan. You remember seeing it in the end of the season press conference. What did Pat Riley say? Said that aging star for the right contract, for the right price, we're interested. A lot of people assume that could be Kevin Durant, but maybe it's DeMar DeRozan, who had another pretty solid year for Sacramento, didn't impact winning to the highest degree. It was a weird year for the Kings. Traded De'Aaron Fox, acquired Zach LaVine, obviously got DeRozan. I don't think Sabonis is good at all, really, in terms of impacting winning. DeRozan stayed on the floor, played 77 of 82 games, averaged 22 a night, could take some offensive burden off of the shoulders of Tyler Hero, and especially in the clutch. DeRozan's one of the most clutch bucket getters in the NBA because he could just get to a spot in the mid-range, get to the free throw line. The concern why doing that trade is, does he elevate you, and are you going to be fine with rolling out a DeRozan Hero Adebayo-led team? Like, what does that do you? Is that a 6 seed at best in the Eastern Conference? Sure. Is there a move the Heat could make outside of that DeRozan deal we just showed to ultimately become an even bigger threat, like acquire a true point guard where it's point guard hero DeRozan, Bam Ware? Okay, maybe that's interesting. Either way, I'm not completely sold on the DeRozan idea. It's one that I did want to throw out there. It's fun, though. It's a fun one, and this was a fun exercise to go through the 5 trade ideas of how the Heat can use Rozier and other assets to potentially build their team. So let's cycle through the trades once again, and I want to know which one is your favorite. Is it the one where the Heat get Dejounte Murray and Kelly Olynyk? That's trade number 1. Is that where they get multiple role players in Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall, and Caleb Barton? That's number 2. Is it getting Terance Mann and Niang from Atlanta? That's number 3. Or buying really, really low on Saddiq Bey and Marcus Smart. That's trade idea number 4. And then the last trade idea, getting DeMar DeRozan from the Sacramento Kings. That is number 5. Let me know which trade is your favorite down in the comment section. I'm about to rank mine, so let me know your thoughts first. All right, the trade that I like the most is number 1. I like acquiring Dejounte Murray. I really like buying low there. He just fits Tyler Hero in the backcourt so well. Would the Heat need a point guard that can distribute, that can play defense, and has got some athleticism and length to him next to Tyler? Dejounte Murray checks all those boxes. Yeah, the 3-point concern is there, the injury concern, but when he's healthy on the court, man, it's really, really fun. I ranked number 4, the trade with the Wizards, getting Marcus Smart and Saddiq Bey as my second favorite. I really like adding Bey off of the bench. Smart on a 1-year expiring deal, too, so it's not even like you're being married to him long term. I'd probably put the Terance Mann and George Niang trade number 3. I'll go number 2 with the Mavericks and my 4th. And then the last one is DeRozan. I like DeRozan. He's fun. I just don't know if that elevates Miami to really anything that they aren't right now. Like maybe just outside the play. But like I don't know if I'm trading Jaquez and Rozier to get a player that really doesn't change the trajectory of our team. But I see the other moves Miami making being really good complementary moves for the Heat if you were to, say, make another trade like a Kevin Durant or something like that. All right, I'll do it for today's show. Make sure you do subscribe as we bring you daily content surrounding the Miami Heat. And if a trade actually ever does happen this offseason, we will definitely be covering that.